Everybody, welcome back to the Running Through Podcast YouTube page. I wanted to update a story that I put out yesterday on this very channel. We're keeping things consistent. We're coming back to things we talked about before. Yesterday, I was talking a bit about the Boston Marathon, talking about the coronavirus concerns, COVID-19, and how it could potentially delay Boston, maybe even delay London. We had some clarity on that today, not from Boston themselves, but as I talked about yesterday, Massachusetts declared a state of emergency. However, other sporting events and other marathons are following suit and either suspending, delaying, or canceling. The Hamburg Marathon, which takes place the day before Boston, the weekend before London, announced today that they're going to suspend their operations at least until summer or fall. So possible postponement. If they can't do that, then everyone will recycle into next year. So we know for sure that Hamburg is done for the spring. That probably means that London is most likely done for the spring as well, I would think, knowing that there's that same kind of layover, although England hasn't been as fast as the rest of Europe, Not on the same page. Who would have thought that in terms of postponing and canceling things? So there's a chance that London still happens being a week later as well. I think that with Massachusetts having a state of emergency, the NCAA announced today that they are limiting all events to less than 1,000 people, that March Madness, all the NCAA championships will only occur with extreme close family and certain members of the media and personnel that has to be there. So, especially for indoor events, they're keeping things low. They're not wanting people to gather because of the possible contamination there. I think we're just going to keep seeing this thing snowball. They're talking about empty stadiums. Golden State and San Jose have both announced that they are not, San Jose Sharks, Golden State Warriors, are not going to be playing with fans and attendance. And I think what this comes down to is that eventually it'll be announced that Boston will be postponed, that London will be postponed. The Athletics Kenya today announced that they are grounding all athletes to travel to events, so anyone stationed in Kenya will not be able to leave the country for athletic purposes. They might not even be able to leave the country at all. So even if London and Boston do happen, there will be no Kipchoge Bekele showdown. Lawrence Sharono will not be able to try to go for a fifth title in Boston. It's, even if these things do happen, they're going to be very watered down. There's not going to be crowd fare. Definitely not. And if they're limiting things to 1,000 people, there's no way that everyone's going to be allowed to run. I think we just have to be ready for the inevitable. The best case scenario is that the elites race like in Tokyo, but I don't even see that happening at this point. So that's a little update on yesterday's story. I guess a couple channel updates. Podcast is out today. As you saw on the channel, it's also in the podcast feed. I will update the story with anything else I learn. I have some feelers out there. I've sent out some emails, and I reached out to a couple of my contacts. I'm just kind of waiting to hear back on if anyone's talked about it. NCAA apparently has talked about canceling the national championship tournament for basketball, which is a pretty big deal. To me, if big money sports like NCAA basketball, like Champions League, so Champions League soccer, PSG and Dortmund played today in an empty stadium in Paris. So if these big money leagues are willing to play in empty arenas with the massive revenues that they generate, Golden State playing in an empty stadium, San Jose playing in an empty arena, I think that it just goes to show what the inevitable is going to happen with the rest of sports. We're probably talking a month where we don't have major sporting events as we know it. Obviously, in some places that maybe aren't hit as bad, they're having the Big 12 tournament this weekend here in Kansas City because there has only been one case. But I think what we need to look at is this preventative aspect. You shouldn't be looking at it as how many cases in an area. You should be looking at it as if an event is bringing people in from elsewhere across the country. There's a lot of places where you can get contaminated, where you can bring the virus in, and we just don't know enough about how to prevent it yet outside of staying away from people that could have possibly been contaminated. So anyway, that's kind of the update on it. Tomorrow, my interview with Jake Riley drops on the podcast feed. I also have a video coming on the YouTube channel if this is how you prefer to listen to it. Give that a shout out. I think you guys are going to like it. The video, like I said a couple days ago, didn't come out yesterday. It's going to come out tomorrow because I wanted to announce that. And the podcast at the same time is going to have a little bit of an update on what's been going on with me mentally as far as why I've been away from the channel, things like that. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this update. Give me a like, give me a subscribe if you want to be in the know for when news drops. You can also follow me on Twitter. That's where I've been releasing a lot of this information first off, and then I want to come on here to talk about it a little more in depth. At Horneker Justin, spelled like it sounds, Horneker Justin, and I'll talk to you soon, guys.